Welcome to edition 5 of JWP's video interface. Stand by to hit the pause button. Here's the stop frame index, and the timings are taken from now. We have a somewhat different video interface for our summer edition. Michael Wade talks with DEC about the new Alpha PC running Windows NT, reportedly the fastest PC in the world. Tim can't be with us this time, so the news is presented by Alison Bull, and we will find out who's won 2 copies of Data Ease Express and of course the Frontline Top 3. We interview Tony Scrivens, General Manager of Oracle UK's reseller channel, and we also have an extended Rod Report case study. Michael Rod goes out and about for the first time for us and looks at an innovative use of some state-of-the-art IBM technology that's already proving its worth at a JWP customer site. But first, WordPerfect have been in the news recently, not only with the release of WordPerfect 6.0 for DOS, but with a product called WordPerfect Office 4. So with us now is Peter Joseph, who is Product Director at WordPerfect UK. Welcome, Peter.
Hello, Stephen.
Peter, answer me one simple question, first of all. The term Office, to me, means a suite of spreadsheet, word processing and graphics. Why did you call your product Office? Because it isn't those, is it?
Well, at the end of the day, it's very much a historical reason, Stephen. The product WordPerfect Office has actually been in existence for certainly the last 4 to 5 years, and obviously since the introduction of suites where they've been adopting that name, we're really talking about very different products, and we believe that Office suits very much the category of product that it is.
Perhaps you better just run us through that category and just set out for us the parts that are in this combined application, as you call it.
That's right. As you say, Office is a combined application, and its key elements are electronic mail, calendaring, scheduling, task management, workflow capabilities, rules technology, and importantly, true multi-user calendaring.
Okay, and I understand that the idea of this being a combined application is that basically there's one sort of output from it and one sort of input to it. I mean, can you just sort of walk us around that a little bit?
That's right. Well, if you take the idea of an inbox, you know, we all have an inbox on our desk, and one of the things we would all expect is that people would put everything into that inbox incoming, and it wouldn't really matter what type of data it is. And the same principle applies to Office. When people send data to you of any type, it initially will go into your inbox.
Right. That's a concept I like, I must say, for the combined application, but I understand that even the outbox, outgoing things, the outbox itself in the software has a certain amount of intelligence built into it as well. That's
very true. In fact, what we say is for every message that maybe you send, we will generate an outbox entry. And the benefit of that is that at any time, a sender of a message has the ability to go and look at the status information, what has actually happened to that message.
Can you show us that on here?
Of course. What we have here on the Office desktop is a little icon for the outbox, and when I go into the outbox, what we get is a list of all the messages that we've sent, and you can actually see the different item types. So again, they're all in the same area, like the inbox concept. And what we can do at any time, if we take this message on discussion on Office and actually look at that, what it will allow us to do is to see what has happened in relation to that message. So you can see with that message, it shows us which recipients have received the message, and in addition to that, what actions each of those different recipients has taken, giving us full status tracking.
Right, and this is regardless of the fact of whether you've asked for a receipt or not. I mean, I know that some mail packages say send me a receipt when it's been opened.
That's right.
This is automatic, and
this
just
is all
happens with
automatic.
everything you send.
That's right.
Okay. This must be, I would have thought, particularly valuable if you're talking about forms and things. But forms is very much a matter of concern.
That's right. In fact, in relation to the outbox, we can see a benefit there straight away. If I take another message that we've sent, take this task here, it's a please review and send type message. And when I go into that, what we've actually done with this item is we've routed it. This is some of the workflow elements, but we've routed the message around the network to a series of recipients. And now what we're able to do is to actually see the status of the message at each stage and see, has the message been delivered, has it been opened, accepted, completed, all of the different key elements. And actually that gives us the management side. And in relation to the forms capability you were talking about, this is also very important, and we at WordPerfect are currently developing a product called WordPerfect Informs. And Informs, working in conjunction with Office, allows us to really work with electronic forms that are routed around the network. And this provides, obviously, a lot of power to the user.
Right. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I understand that things can be routed around the network. but the system is capable of actually rerouting things according to certain criteria that you can give it as well, isn't it?
That's right. As well as the routing that we can build into a message, we also have rules technology which allows us to really define where we want messages to be directed to automatically.
Is this a tricky process? Can you show us that as well?
No, not at all. Let me just close out of this message and I'll minimize the outbox. What we can do is go into what we would call the rules menu. And the idea of rules is that we can define different categories of rules. Let's take the example of maybe when we go on holiday and actually go through and actually say what happens maybe to a message in the circumstance that I'm on holiday. So for example, in this case, we're saying while I'm on holiday, for any item that comes in, automatically forward the message to somebody, but also at the same time return or send a message in reply to the sender so that both parties know exactly the status of the fact I'm away on holiday.
Right. Is this true of all data types? Can all data types be routed and rerouted in this way?
Exactly. In fact, rules can be applied to any of your appointments, to schedule requests, to any of the different data types that Office supports.
This is what I would call workflow management, isn't it?
That's right, very much. Controlling the data and where that data is actually being designated to end up, and doing it automatically without really any manual user intervention.
Tell me something about group calendaring and group scheduling. It's something you mentioned up front, because this is being talked about by people, but it is in this product now, I gather.
That's right, very much. In fact, there are really two key areas here. There is what we would classify as the personal time management, which is where maybe you want to maintain your own diary.
Can we look at that as well?
Sure. Let's just come out of this.
Prompting you. I want to see everything.
That's right. Well, that's fine. Let's just close out of here. And what I'm going to do is just go into what I would call the day view. And when we call up the day view, this is an example of exactly how your calendar may appear on the screen. This is just one possibility. But what's important is the group side of this, because very often what people are going to want is the secretary-manager scenario, where maybe you want somebody else to maintain your diary on your behalf. And Office will allow that to happen. In fact, it will allow multiple people to be editing the same diary at the same time. Now that's personal time management. What we also support is group scheduling, the ability to arrange events or meetings based on the availability of individuals and or resources around the network.
Okay, and this is true of rooms and facilities and meeting facilities and so on?
That's right, any resource that you want to define.
Right, that's interesting. Peter, I wanted to ask you a little bit about 6.0, but I suspect that 6.0 for Windows is the product that everybody's really waiting to see. Perhaps if I ask you in front of 1,200 corporate decision makers, if you'll come and give us a preview of 6.0 for Windows before it launches, would you say yes?
Of course, I'd be absolutely delighted to come back and show you 6.0 for Windows.
Right, in which case we'll see you again soon. Peter Joseph, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
You may already know that JWP is an authorised digital reseller. Therefore, we have been watching closely the progress of the Digital Alpha PC and Windows NT. Since the launch of Windows NT, the Digital Alpha PC has been attracting a lot of attention. Digital claim it is the fastest PC in the world, a bold claim. And with us to justify that claim is John Pattenden, NT Marketing Manager of Digital UK. Welcome, John.
Thank you, Mike.
John, before we talk about this being the fastest PC in the world, perhaps we need to confirm that it is really a PC. After all, it's not Intel based.
I think that's true. I think we need to do that because everybody's so used to the Intel-based PCs. Something that's got one of these inside it, the Alpha chip, is certainly something different. In fact, it looks like a PC, and in reality, all the components, apart from the Alpha chip itself, really are PC components. So you've got standard peripherals, standard components within the machine itself. The real thing, though, is the Windows NT software that allows it to run Windows and DOS applications from today and the Windows NT applications of the future.
Right, so I can run any standard Windows application on the Alpha PC.
If you can run it on Windows NT, you can run it on Windows NT with Alpha.
Right, okay, so why would I want to run it on the Alpha PC rather than an Intel-based system?
Well, simply to be glib, if you wanted to run it faster. The chip that's inside the machine here, the Alpha processor, is around twice as fast as a Pentium processor, and it means that you can do Windows NT work twice as fast.
So take us around the specification of the Alpha PC, would you, John?
Certainly. The box, as you see, is a PC box. The case is exactly the same as the standard 400 ST series of PCs that Digital's been selling for some while. Standard PC components, the SCSI disks and controllers, the standard peripherals, connectors for mice, monitors, the keyboard, EISA bus slots, 6 standard slots. But at the heart of it all, this 150 megahertz alpha processor, the fastest microprocessor in the world. And that's really the thing that gives it the power and the speed and really justifies our capability of calling it the fastest PC in the world.
Right. So who would want to use the Alpha PC? What would they want to use it for?
Well, I think that people coming to Windows NT and coming to the Alpha PC come from various different directions. Perhaps 3 I'd like to bring up. Certainly there's a large number of people wanting to spend less on their computer solution. So it's an attractive proposition for people downsizing from mainframes or from minis, implementing perhaps new applications on the system or even re-engineering their old applications. We know already that a lot of people who use standard PC products have really run out of steam. They just run out of that oomph to get their machine running their application fast enough, and the Alpha PC can provide that. Third area that's probably the most important is people who are taking up workgroup computing, actually taking from the desktop to integrate their data center into a client-server type of solution. And what they need for that is really the power of a computer like the Alpha-based PC to actually drive that with Windows NT.
Right. That's a very useful introduction to what I'm sure is going to be a very interesting and important development in the market. Where can people find out more now that we've tantalised them?
Right, well, JWP is the right place to go. The digital division of JWP, I'm sure, will be pleased to hear calls from people. Though Digital themselves are both directly involved in supporting developers, so if anybody out there has got an application that they want to port over to Windows NT on Alpha, we'll be pleased to give them some help.
All right, John, thanks very much indeed for coming in today.
Thank you, Mike.
Hello. It's a somewhat shorter news section this month to leave more time for the special ROD report later. So here's a few headlines from the happenings in and around the industry right now. Claris have announced a new combined Macintosh and Windows graphics strategy and have launched 2 new products as the first result. Claris Impact is described as an entirely new category of productivity software for business and general users. It claims to unify the create, edit, communicate process into one simple application. Claris Draw is a completely rewritten drawing program that succeeds the market-leading MacDraw family. Both products utilise the Claris graphics engine, a building block of many new proposed products to come that will cross seamlessly between Windows and Mac users. WordPerfect have a couple of announcements. Firstly, they have just announced WordPerfect 3 for the Macintosh. The product is expected to ship in Q4, and there's also a special offer, a Logitech ScanMan 32 handheld scanner free of charge when purchasing WordPerfect Presentations 2 for Windows. This bundle will be available for 90 days from the first ship date of Presentations 2. It's good to see just how far ahead we were in delivering you information about Adobe's Acrobat software. The magazines have only recently caught up with Video Interface Edition 3. This was from PC Week. It looks as though Acrobat may well justify the amount of space various publications are giving it right now. IBM have released 4 new entry point systems, the PS, VP, SI range. Incorporating 486 SX and DX chips, you can now invest in a 486 IBM system with 4 MB of RAM, DOS, Windows, mouse, keyboard, 14-inch SVGA screen and 80 MB of hard disk for an RRP of just £899. Ask your JWP account manager for the details. Compaq will be making some announcements in mid-September. JWP expect these to contain some new high-end servers. There are no details yet, so we suggest you contact your JWP account manager at about that time to hear all about it. Similarly, Toshiba will launch various new systems at the end of September. Watch out for a very special high-end mains portable with just about everything on the wish list for a mobile multimedia platform. In the peripherals marketplace, Lexmark have their promised autumn announcements coming up soon. Don't forget that Carol O'Regan of Lexmark promised to give video interface viewers a preview.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll come back in the fall. There'll be our 4079 printer as well as possibly some new exciting announcements.
I expect we shall see her in the next edition. Finally, a congratulatory word to JWP's own Mike Heron, who has recently obtained one of the very first Microsoft Certified Professional accreditations in the country. This is a vital step towards JWP becoming recognised as a solution provider, Microsoft's new accreditation scheme for the top tier of systems integrators capable of properly supporting Windows NT. And with that, we'll end the news for this edition of Video Interface. We'll be back with more on October the 8th. Bye for now.
As we mentioned a while ago, JWP Information Services have recently been appointed one of a small and fairly select band of Oracle systems resellers. Now, these appointments are something of a change for Oracle, who traditionally have always dealt directly with their customers. With us today to tell us something more about these changes, and indeed others, is Tony Scribbins, who is General Manager of the Reseller Channel at Oracle UK. Welcome, Tony.
Thank you, and it's a pleasure to be with you.
Tony, tell me first why Oracle felt it was necessary to appoint systems resellers in the first place. Why the change of philosophy?
Well, it's a fairly significant change, and it's really driven by the changes that we see taking place within the IT business. I think if you look at Oracle's historic position, it has really been related to the key business process and tied in very much with the data processing departments in the major corporates. There's a major shift taking place within many of the corporates where, really, I call it the creation of network computing systems. In effect, what's happening, I think, is to create a full IT system. Data processing needs to be merged with office automation. And that means that there needs to be an integration of the PCs, the PC applications, with the key business application. Along with that, if you like, comes a change of architecture, and we are entering really the network computing architecture where all these systems are tied together. Well, with that, there's a changing role for the database. The database is becoming, well, it still remains as the database and, if you like, the platform for the applications. But I try and position it as it's becoming enabling technology. It's enabling technology for the move to downsizing. It's enabling technology for the move to open systems. But I think the most significant piece is it's the enabling technology to actually integrate the applications, to pull office automation with the key business process, so that, if you like, users, management, whatever you like within an organization can actually get at key business information and use it and present it in an effective form. Well, if that's the background there, one of the key requirements of this now is to actually provide the, let's call it the PC, the workstation, the workgroup integration into those major systems. Now, I say historically our concentration has been at the, let's call it the DP level, at the mini, the mainframe type level. And really what we're doing with the Oracle Systems resellers is positioning them and selecting them on the basis that what we're looking for are systems integration companies with this PC, workgroup, workstation bias who can actually, if you like, work with us in building these complete information systems. So I say the band, the people we're looking for are very much skills-orientated, project-orientated, but do have the key skills in those areas.
There's several things I'd like to talk to you about. I'd like to turn to products, if we may, for a moment. Now, I'm aware that Oracle have products on just about every computing platform that there is. But what's your main focus of development right now?
We've recently released Oracle 7, and there's a continued sort of, not development, but continued release of that as it covers all those platforms. And that gives us a pretty good leadership, I think, in the database side of it. Similarly, there's an emphasis and an ongoing program now to release the cooperative development environment, in other words, the tools that enable people to get at the data on that database. A lot of effort is going into that, and basically the tools that we're producing enable, if you like, anybody from at one end, literally the systems architects to create a business system using things like Case, down to end user tools, things like Oracle Card, that enable users to simply get at their data. And I think probably within that, one of the major emphasis is going to be on the ability to allow other applications to link into our database. And in particular, I'd put a lot of emphasis on two pieces in there. One of them is the work with Microsoft related to the thing called ODBC, the Open Database Interface, so that PC applications can easily link in. We have a product ourselves called Glue that also is, if you like, fulfilling that need. And additional to that, it's really the development with Novell on Oracleware to solve one of the other business problems.
I was going to ask you about Oracleware because it's a name I've heard. Tell us just a little bit more about that.
Okay, Oracleware. If I describe the product is basically an operating system from Novell, that is either NetWare or their Unix operating system. A database from Oracle, that's Oracle 7 that relates to the particular operating system, and Oracle Office, which I'd best describe as, well, it's an office system, but it's a database-centric office system. So you probably wouldn't buy it if you were just looking for an office automation system, but it's something that you would certainly use if you're a user of an Oracle database. So those are the components of the product, or the set of products, and quite simply they come together and are delivered in effectively one package, and delivered. They're actually going to be manufactured by Novell and delivered by through the Novell distribution chain. In itself, I'd say that we're not actually pushing back the frontiers of technology with the products, because they really are based on existing components. What's significant in there is not so much the products, but if you like, the background thinking and the driving force there. Because essentially what we're doing is we believe moving forward the downsizing movement, moving forward this network computing side. So by delivering the products integrated together with a single install, because that's a major part of it, so you only have to go through the thing once, but more importantly, with the provision of support through a single source. And that could be either the reseller, or for the mission critical applications, we're opening up the possibility of having a single point of contact for support through Oracle.
It seems that Oracle are becoming less insular generally. I think a word of reassurance for your established direct customers out there, that you won't stop talking to them directly, might be appreciated by some people out there.
I mean, I think, yeah, it is an interesting change for Oracle. I think longer term, one could probably look at Oracle as saying, well, the business could move so that 30, 40, perhaps 50% of our business comes through indirect channels and only half of it directly. From a customer point of view, I hope that what that means is actually they get a far better service, because what we want to do is really have a teaming. And if I talk specifically about the reseller side now, it's a complementary relationship. The reseller brings a set of skills that are, should we say, very PC application, workstation application, and workgroup orientated, and knows the technology and knows the, if you like, the application and tools to make that effectively work. We know the business system and, should we say, the more major servers, and that if we get that working together, what it does is allow the, should we say, the reseller to deal with the day-to-day tactical issues. It frees up some of our resource, our consultancy and our sales resource, to work much more closely with the customers, so that strategically, if you like, we can give them a far better service. And certainly, I think the evidence so far we've been going now just about 12 months, those companies that have recognized how to use that, I'm talking about the end users, recognize that they can take the best of both worlds here, have actually seen very major benefits in there and getting much better use out of their systems.
Right, I'm sure that will be good news for a lot of people. Thank you for coming and seeing us and answering some questions for us.
Thank you very much.
No doubt you will remember from our last edition that we had 2 copies of Data Ease Express to give away. The draw was duly conducted by our Managing Director Jim Russo on the 2nd of August, and these will be on their way to Mrs. L. Linwood, a Senior Information Centre Analyst at Thomson Tor Operations, and Mr. C.J. Miller, who is Computer Services Manager at AXA Equity and Law. Well done. Also, Frontline generously sponsored a competition. In that, the first person who correctly predicted this edition's Frontline Top 3 in 1, 2, 3 order will receive a complete set of those 3 software packages. We ask you to base your prediction on the 12th of August. That's today, as we're recording this. So watch now and see if you've won. I'll tell you the winner's name in a moment. We actually had two completely accurate predictions. Mr. Peter MacDonald, IT Director of Eurodollar, got it dead right. But unfortunately for him, we did say the first correct entry, and he was just beaten to the post by Mr. Gary Taylor, Facility Services Manager at British Telecom. Congratulations, Mr. Taylor, your prize will be on the way just as soon as Frontline get it to us. And we'll send Mr. MacDonald a consolation prize too, especially as he said nice things about video interface on his card. Thank you, Frontline, and thank you to everybody who took the time and trouble to enter. And now, finally for this edition, here's that special extended on-location ROD report.
These are the new United Kingdom headquarters of Amerada Hess. By the end of 1993, this independent company will have become the third largest oil field operator in the North Sea, behind the giants BP and Shell. Like any business, an oil company is dependent on information. And when Amerada Hess moved into these magnificent new premises, it took the opportunity of completely rethinking how it handles information management.
Surveys of our industry have shown that our professional staff, executives and so on, spend up to 30% of their time engaged in very routine activity, trying to find information, accessing information, filing the information, when as a company what we really want those professional staff to do is to focus on their professional jobs, not the routine activity of hunting for information.
As well as taking time for individuals to locate plans, maps, reports, whatever each particular need called for, the company's growing stock of valuable documentation was presenting a wider management challenge. The chance was taken to create the Hess Information Centre.
The move to the new premises really gave us an opportunity to make a fresh start. Previously, we'd been in 3 separate offices with information dispersed around each of these offices and within each of the offices dispersed around the building in individuals' offices and in local filing units. Clearly this wasn't very efficient. When we moved to the new location, we wanted to bring all of that together centrally, but at the same time providing the individual users with the ability to access that information from their desktop. Fortunately, with the way technology had developed, that gave us a real practical option. Although, of course, in setting up any kind of system that involved technology, it's absolutely vital that, as far as the users are concerned who are trying to access the information, that the information is easy to access, quick for them to access, and of course also for the information centre professionals who are busily cataloguing the information, the system again has to be easy and quick for them to use.
Traditionally, desktop stations like this one offered a whole suite of business applications as part of a local area network supported by a central system. But the company's growing documentation archive, so essential to the day-to-day operation, was not part of this system. Today, all that has changed. Very soon, anyone, anywhere in the company will, with the appropriate security clearance, be able to check within a matter of seconds what is available on any subject, select what may be valuable to them, and summon it onto their screens, if necessary, calling up hard copies from a nearby image printer. The storage system Amerada Hess uses was developed by IBM here in the UK, and this installation is its first implementation. With some 125,000 individual documents to start off with, many of them tens if not hundreds of pages long, this need seemed an obvious case for an optical storage system. But when Martin Owen was assigned responsibility for the project, he wanted to consider all the possibilities.
We'd used optical disc and optical disc jukeboxes on previous image processing applications that we'd developed over the last 6 years. But I wasn't happy with the speed of response or the use of what is, in essence, 1950s Wurlitzer technology. When JWP showed us the curveball system, it gave us an opportunity of providing all the data which people need for day-to-day access online with a fast storage medium.
The answer lay in conventional magnetic hard disks. Curveball uses an ingenious series of compression and interlacing techniques. It's based around conventional individual units like this one, but they're configured in an array which makes it possible not just to store large amounts of data, but to make that data available virtually instantaneously to anyone on the network who needs it. This comparatively small corner of the Amerada Hess computer room offers no less than 28 gigabytes of online storage. A powerful RS6000 processor handles the incoming requests for details of information that is available on the system. And that draws this basic catalog detail from the top 2 disks in the curveball array. Once a user has decided that a particular document is of value, that request is then processed by a conventional PS2, which draws the image, the document itself, from the next 4 layers in the array. The bottom one, incidentally, is a spare available for hot swapping should anything at any time go wrong. Curveball uses serial transfer technology, of course, but it operates faster than SCSI systems. It has a burst transfer rate of 40 megabytes a second. That's faster than non-microchannel systems will even allow. And because it has this high transfer rate, it shows no sign of slowing up, even though increasing numbers of people are now starting to appreciate the value of the Amerada Hess Information Centre.
I describe what was necessary here and what's happened here really as a complete change in our information management culture. If in the previous environment we had individuals who stored information in their own offices or in local file areas, perhaps even in some cases jealously guarded that information, then they had to feel confident that when they provided the information to a central filing unit, that it wouldn't just vanish into a black hole, it wouldn't be lost forever. And there were other factors too. The individuals had to feel very free with sharing information with their colleagues. In order to get the most out of a system like this, information does have to be freely available. And in fact, it's an important principle in setting up the system that access is generally available to all. There have to be good reasons why an individual shouldn't see a particular document. And of course, that does apply to certain documents. And what we're seeing now, as more and more information is actually released to the system by individuals, is that there are real benefits here. That in the past, where individuals may have been working on a problem, they may not even have realized that the information actually existed. Now they can actually see it does exist and can access it quickly. And both are very important for our success.
Of course, the technology is perfectly capable of coping with diagrams, drawings, maps, plans, photographs in full color if necessary, but copyright restrictions make it impossible to include journals like this actually in the storage system itself. But they can, nevertheless, be checked in and out of the library using the system. First of all, the borrower identifies himself with a barcode reader. The volume to be removed is also identified. Now, journals like this can be included in the list of documents that are available on a particular subject, and if they're not on the library shelves, the Information Centre staff know who's got them. Some 80 new documents which need to be archived are created within the company each day. Information Centre staff scan these in, together with around 120 from the backlog archive waiting to go onto disk. The fact that users can then find the documents they need reflects the work of the indexing team, who are responsible for giving each document in the system the clearest possible identity. But even here, advanced information technology is lending a hand.
We're experimenting now with optical character recognition. This is going to be new and exciting for us in that we believe it'll allow us to scan and read a document automatically. This allows us to index any information that's on the document, hundreds of words if necessary, and combining this information with our human staff's indexing experience will allow us to offer a level of service to our users which we believe will be the best.
The regular use of the system is now steadily rolling out through the company, but already possibilities for the future are being considered. Documents created electronically, typically in word processing, will soon be archived automatically without any need for printouts or scanners. Every day's post could be opened centrally and made available to anyone who needs it across the system. The falling price of hard disks, coupled with Curveball's ability to make ultimate use of their storage capacity, is opening up a whole range of possibilities for this high-speed, online document management system. And options for the future are being kept wide open.
We're confident that we can add an optical disc jukebox to a curveball storage system and allow the curveball discs to service day-to-day data which has to be held online for speed of access, while the mass of historical data can be held on an optical disc jukebox. What we have built over the last year is an infrastructure which will allow us to add image to many of our existing fax-based applications. In addition, we can develop a new generation of information systems using what was paper-based information as their core. Having scanned so much of our paper-based information, we back that up on a daily basis onto tape, and that gives us far more security and opportunity to recover from disaster situations such as fire or terrorist bombing, for instance.
Well, the immediate payback came in the design of the building at the time of the move. We made a conscious decision at the time to devote much less space to filing in the new building than we had in our previous old buildings. And it's really only this system that permitted us to do that, and that immediately shows up in reduced costs. I think also now that the system has been in place for some time, we're beginning to see some of the other benefits that we sought from the system, the increased productivity from our professional staff, as they genuinely do spend more time exercising their professional skills rather than hunting for pieces of paper. Of course, the oil industry is a very information-intensive industry, but I'd be very surprised if there weren't many other industries where information wasn't a valuable asset for the companies involved in that kind of industry. For example, professional organisations such as lawyers, such as accountants and so on, I'm sure they could make real benefits out of a system like this.
And that's it for this edition of JWP's Video Interface. Issue 6 will be released on October the 8th. We'll see you then.